Who would have thought that with the Spirit's strong pitching staff, that the Rox could have gone to Lynn and won 2 consecutive ball games there? Well, they did just that. They have a saying up there in Lynn. You've probably heard about it. Lynn, Lynn, city of sin, you never come out the way you went in. Spirit, we're trying to change that to the city of win. Actually, from what I understand, they tried a while back to rename Lynn. They tried to rename it Ocean Park because of that little slogan about the city of sin. However, that renaming campaign was shot down because the opponents came up with a slogan of their own for Ocean Park. Ocean Park, you'd better get out before it gets dark. Lynn, Lynn, city of sin, you never come out the way you went in. So the Rox went in to Lynn without a championship game victory. They came out leading 2 games to none, and now they are on the verge of a sweep.
So the series shifted from the city of sin to the city of champions. And after a season filled with countless obstacles and adversities, the Brockton Rox were now just 1 win away from winning a league championship in only their 2nd year of existence. The starting pitcher for North Shore would be Clay Calvert, and that was quite ironic because Calvert was actually related to Rox manager Ed Noddle by marriage.
So not only then is this a crosstown rivalry, it is also a family affair. The May 17th exhibition was not the only game that Calvert pitched against Brockton this season. He beat the Rox 4-2 on July 18th at Campanelli Stadium, allowed just 2 hits, walked 1 in 6 innings. However, that lineup did not have Francisco Matos, did not have Darren Blakely, didn't even have Mel Rosario that night. And it did include David Letterman's stage manager, costing Nestor Smith an at-bat and possibly a chance to extend his 14-game on-base streak. So most of the players that night were unhappy due to the Biff Henderson thing. They were not focused. They are focused tonight because they are just 1 win away from a championship. So this could be a completely different team that Clay Calvert is facing. That brings up Abner Arroyo, 241 hitter on the season, but what a postseason he is having. 8 hits, 24 at-bats, 5 extra base hits in the postseason, 4 doubles, and a home run. The 0-1 pitch. Swung on, line drive, right center field, base hit for Arroyo. Gonna roll all the way to the wall. Arroyo around first, headed for second base, and he arrives with a stand-up double. Calvert batting .296 in the postseason. Continuing to swing the bat well. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on, ground ball, right side, base hit for Calvert. Arroyo being waved home. Sepulveda is thrown to the plate. He airmails it all the way to the screen. Calvert hustles to second base, and the Brockton Rox have taken an early 1-0 lead. Mel Rosario at the plate, the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. Calvert mixing speeds very well in this ball game early on. The Rox may be happy that they jumped on him early. The way he's pitching, he is really looking sharp. Clay Calvert, ironically, related to Rox manager Ed Noddle by marriage. Clay married the cousin of Ed's wife. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Rosario down on strikes. That is the 5th strikeout of the ball game for Clay Calvert. Biff Henderson doesn't have to feel so bad now. He struck out back in that 1 appearance. David Letterman's stage manager got an at-bat for the Rox, and it was against Clay Calvert. Actually stole that Biff Henderson line from Josh Maurer's mom, who was visiting. It was a good line, so I used it, but I did give credit. Line drive deep to left field, way back. Arroyo looks up, and that ball is gone. Fran Reardon ties the ball game with a solo home run. Fran Reardon, with 1 swing of the bat, puts an end to the perfect game, to the no-hitter, and to the shutout of Scott Martin. Scott had retired the first 6 batters he had faced in this ball game. Sanchez had 4 stolen bases this season, was caught twice. Being held at first base by Craig Lewis. Now the 2-1 offering with the runner going. Pitch misses outside. Throw down to second base by Rosario is on the money. Mel Rosario guns down Yuri Sanchez for out number 3. And you kind of have to wonder, with the way that the North Shore Spirits struggled when it came to stealing bases this season, why in the world John Kennedy would have given the green light to Yuri Sanchez and had him try to steal a base against Mel Rosario. Did not work out so well for the Spirit. Brings up Craig Lewis. He struck out his first time up. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Calvert from Gold Coast, Australia. Lewis from Carlingford, Australia. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on, ground ball, left side. It will be the shortstop Sanchez up with it. Throw to first is not on target. Hustling to second base is Craig Lewis. Frank Charles retrieves the ball. Lewis in scoring position. There are 2 outs, but you have Francisco Matos at the plate. He's been swinging a great bat. The 0-1 pitch hit pretty well down the left field line. Base hit for Matos. Rounding third, coming home is Craig Lewis. He scores easily. The throw to second base, not in time to nail Matos, who arrives standing with a double. The Rox have regained the lead. It is 2-1. Nestor Smith at the plate now. He is 0 for 2, has struck out and has popped out. First pitch to Smith. That's hit pretty well to right center field. Way back is Sepulveda, and the yard is not big enough to hold that one. Nestor Smith crushes one to right field and gives the Rox a 3-1 lead. 2 outs. Craig Lewis at the plate now. He's 1 for 2 with a single.
Again covered by a little bit of clouds, but now it's turned to white. Oh, looks like a hypercolor moon here tonight.
1-2 pitch.
That is scorched. Deep to left field, no doubt about that one. The yard not even close to big enough for that ball. A home run for Craig Lewis.
Nice effort for the left-hander Scott Martin tonight. Before he makes way for Tony Stutz, hard-throwing right-hander, who inherits a couple of base runners. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, another 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Stutz did not fool around, strikes out Sanchez on 3 pitches. The Brockton Rox are just 3 outs away from winning the Northeast League Championship. Larry Blucher back with you at Campanelli Stadium. The place is absolutely rocking as Connor Brooks has been brought on to try to seal the deal. He has been handed the holy hand grenade. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball hit high in the air to shallow right field. Nestor Smith coming on, settles under it, reaches up, makes the catch, and the Rox are now just 2 outs away. Brooks rocks and fires. First pitch is a fastball in there for a called strike, and this crowd really getting juiced now. The 0-1 offering, swung on, grounded down to first base weakly. Up with it is Lewis. Steps on the bag. There are 2 outs. Rob Fisher grounds out to first base unassisted. That will bring up Eddie Muth. The fans are on their feet as the Rox are now just 1 out away from winning a championship in this, their 2nd year of existence in the Northeast League. The players are up on the front of the dugout now. Looking over the screen, waving his cap is pitching coach John Duffy. The crowd begins to wave their rally rags. There are some brooms being waved as well. It was Babe Ruth who many years ago said, "You can't beat the person who never gives up." And that really tells the story of the Brockton Rox this season. 2-1 pitch from Brooks is popped up. Middle of the infield. Torres calling for it. Bustos calling for it. It is Torres making the catch, and the Brockton Rox have won the Northeast League Championship. Players have converged behind the pitching mound and are whooping it up, a well-deserved celebration. It
is party time in Brockton.
Did Ed Noddle push the right buttons or what during this postseason? I mean, actually, you have to go back even further than that. You go back to that series in Quebec in which the Brockton Rox were robbed by several just unbelievable calls from the umpires. And ever since that, the Rox have not been defeated in any series. They have just gone out and won and won and won. And Noddle taking that trophy over to his players and handing it over, and they all converge around it like the Holy Grail being held in the air. The Rox have found their Holy Grail. They have swept this series from the North Shore Spirit, winning 4-1 in the series finale here at Campanelli Stadium. What an outstanding effort.
The magic continued the next day. The Rox held an impromptu gathering at Campanelli Stadium to thank their fans. Now, this was the middle of a Friday, a work day, a school day, but despite no advertising other than word of mouth, about 500 fans filled the stands. It was amazing, a lovely celebration. The previous night, I had ended my broadcast on air by reading a poem that I'd written, changing the words of Casey at the bat to Rox at the bat, and I was asked to read it to the crowd. Now, the stadium event was not recorded, unfortunately, but here is how I closed out the final broadcast of 2003, beginning with a special dedication.
And I also wanted to vote this season. I actually did it at the start of the season, but I couldn't quite bring myself to do it on the air for fear of getting choked up. I lost my grandmother during the off season. Rhoda Snyder, such a big part of my life and such an important reason that I'm a big baseball fan. She took me out to baseball games as a child, bought me all sorts of baseball cards. I memorized the backs of those cards, and I tell you what, I called her Mom. So Mom, this one was for you. Without you, I definitely would not be behind this microphone right now with the baseball knowledge that I acquired. Thank you so much. But I don't want to leave on that note. I put together, get it together here. Put together a little something that I hope you will find amusing. We're going to end it here in the broadcast booth with Rox at the bat, with all apologies to Ernest Lawrence Thayer. The outlook was quite brilliant for the Brockton Rox today. 4,000 plus had come out to see their heroes play. And then, when nightfall forced the mighty sun to yield, the light shone brightly upon Tommy Hassett's field. The North Shore Spirit fans were in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only the Rox could win just once more, they could show the North Shore Spirit to the door. So as some of the female fans retreated for a powder, many of the guys lined up to sample the clam chowder. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, but that didn't stop the concession stands from making people fat. From the PA booth to the wonderment of all, announcer Johnny Dolan said, "It's time to play ball." And as KO left the field and the crowd saw what had occurred, the Rox were lining up from home plate out to third. Then from 5,000 throats or more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through Joe Angelo's, it rattled in the dell. It knocked pictures off the wall at George's. Oh, the sound! Scott Martin, mighty Scott, was headed to the mound. General Manager Dave Eccles stepped into his place, directing pregame action, a smile upon his face. And when responding to the cheers, the grounds crew doffed their hats. The Brockton players grabbed their balls, and then they grabbed their bats. 10,000 eyes were upon Ed Noddle as he walked up to the plate. He is no friend of umpires who the fans had come to hate. Ed handed them the lineup, concealed within his jacket, said defiantly, "These are my Rox, and they're about to make a racket." And now the leather-covered spear came hurtling through the air. A Scott Martin fastball, strike, another, made a pair. Expecting him to waste a pitch, the batter said, "Oh no," as strike three sailed past him into the glove of Rosario. When Nestor Smith bunted safely, there went up a muffled roar. Abner worked the count full, and then he took ball four. "Boo! Boo!" shouted fans from up in the stands, but they weren't really booing. Saul had a bat in his hands. With a smile, Bustos took his bat and stepped into the box. And when Saul singled, the pond was full of rocks. Now the poor opposing pitcher must have been filled with fright.
Craig Lewis, 6'5", 220 pounds. What an imposing sight. The pitcher deals. Lewis swings. His muscles also hard. The ball takes off like a laser and flies out of the yard. Into the sky, up through the clouds. Fans looked up in wonder. The ball started off in Brockton, but dropped in the land down under. Still they kept on scoring. Daubert and Davis with base knocks. Francisco Matos reaches base. Torres drives in another for the Rox. With a huge early lead and the bullpen oh so strong, despite North Shore spirit, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light, and somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Lynn tonight. The Spirit have been swept out. The Brockton Rox have won the championship of the Northeast League. I hope you enjoyed this season as much as I did. Larry Blucher saying so long. Have a fantastic off season.
So that's my story of the magical Brockton Rox. Now wait a second, you may be wondering, what about 2004? Yes, I was back in Brockton in 2004, did not get the AA and AAA jobs that I had hoped for, but despite a lot of good things, it really lacked the magic of 2003. I mean, in the movies, the story ends when the knight in shining armor slays the dragon and rescues the damsel in distress. Making 2004 a part of this tale would be like adding how the hero was unable to get out of his armor on his wedding night. What I will do is go through the 04 tapes and put together a few stories for you. Nothing nearly as elaborate and not on a weekly basis. If you are subscribed, which doesn't cost anything, you should receive notifications on YouTube when a new episode is uploaded. I want to thank everyone who has taken time to watch, and I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. I've had a blast with it. And who knows, maybe one of these days the current Brockton Rox organization and the city of Brockton might want to hold a reunion celebration for the team that not only captured a championship, but also the hearts and imaginations of an entire city. Now that would be another story worth telling.